Hey, if you think I look disheveled, you should see what the crafting room looks like right now. It's nuts, man. My desk is gone totally berserk. I really need to take a break from the shop today and do some work in the house. But here, let me show you. I'm going to be filling up my vaping device here, and I wanted to give you guys a little look at the operation. I don't know if I can even find an angle that doesn't have some kind of crap in the background, guys. You know? Desk is in bad shape. Well, the first mistake I made, okay, which was massive, was as I unscrewed this deal in this position, and all the e-juice just rolled down, and I was like, I ruined it. But luckily, for whatever reason, it didn't affect the switch or anything, didn't affect the battery, so I cleaned it really good and slapped myself a few times and said, don't do that. So anyway, here's some e-juice that spits sent along to me. I have no idea what flavor it is. I like the little applicator, though. The applicator is super cool. It makes everything a lot neater. So what you do is you turn this thing upside down. This is the Kanger EVOD. You grasp it by the atomizer, okay, which is that silver part, so that it doesn't unscrew from the battery. Okay, and then now we're going to be able to see quite a few bits on bobs of it. Okay, right. This is this little silvery part. You can unscrew that and put that into this little deal. Here is the atomizer. It's got a coil and two wicks that go down into the fluid. It's a bottom coil because it's on the bottom of the whole tank type thing. This is actually called a Clearomizer. They had to come up with some catchy name, right? But you can see the little clear O-ring there. And you can also see that I've trapped some crap in there, so I probably should wipe this whole thing off and clean it. And you can also see that the wicks are starting to get pretty black. I've ordered a couple more atomizers because I did not want to be without. But if it starts tasting nasty and gnarly and all this gets really brown and black, it's just from the constant heating. And you're either using vegetable glycerin or polyethylene glycol, food grade, in this e-juice. So, and then filling it, here, look inside. I think you can see pretty good that there's the draw hole, okay, and the draw hole fits up against this hollow part of the atomizer, and the air is being pulled through these tiny little holes here. So if these holes get plugged up with crud from you handling it or carrying it in your pocket or whatever, it's not going to work very well. So you got to try and keep everything pretty clean. And when you're filling it, obviously you got to fill so that the fluid is running down beside. I'm trying to do this so I can see it and you can see it. But you want to run the fluid down beside it, but you can't tilt it too much because then the fluid will come up, you know, past that central hole there. See if I can do this without screwing things up. But basically, it holds a lot of fluid, actually. I thought it only held a little bit, but I'm seeing that it holds a fair amount, enough to keep you going all day. What I do is can you see where the fluid levels up to? What you don't want to do is overfill it so that it runs out the mouthpiece. That would be bad, right? So you kind of got to watch where that fluid's getting up to and then stop before it gets up there. You see what I'm saying? There's like that central hole, and the last thing you want to do is have this e-juice running down your mouthpiece or whatever. And if that does happen, get in there with something and clean it out, because you don't want to be sucking that directly into your face. But right now it's about as full as I can possibly get it. Can you see? I could go a little higher on it. See the sight glass? I could go a little higher on it, but I don't really want to make a mess of it. Now, let me just put a couple more drops. This is when I usually overdo it, right? This is when I say, well, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, now, before I assemble it, I'm going to take a little piece of paper towel here. Okay, this is not as probably brilliant to do all with one hand. But see the threads and whatnot? Get any little cat hairs that might be on there. And what I'm seeing here is that the O-ring or whatever for the atomizer looks like it's been crushed a little bit right there for whatever reason. I'm guessing this is knurled right here so that you can grasp it and unscrew it and screw it back on. I don't really know. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's working. I don't want to break it. But I would imagine you don't want to have your O-ring crimped like that, although it may not be critical in this particular application. You don't want to have any dirt on the threads. You don't want any cat hairs all over it. I can see that I'm wiping quite a bit of crud off the threads. You know, just want to keep it nice and clean. I guess that's good enough for right now. I'll probably take it down and do more to it. Obviously, you don't want to turn this over. All the fluid just run right out, right? Then you put the thing back in and you screw it down. Now you're good for the rest of the day. You probably got enough juice in there to keep you going for the rest of the day. Okay. Now, as you can see, no fluid's running out of this thing. And I don't think that I got too much. I did get a couple drops of e-juice down the center tube. So what I'm going to do is take a little piece of paper towel and spin it into like a point, right, and put it down in there as best I can to get that e-juice, because I don't want to be consuming that. I want to vape it. I don't want to have it in my mouth. Although it won't kill you, it doesn't taste that great, and it might not be good for you. I'm not really sure about directly imbibing e-juice. Probably not the best thing. So now that the atomizer part is attached to the, go ahead and just wipe this whole thing off. But now that the atomizer is attached to the Clearomizer, you know, you can unscrew this and you can take a look at the connection. Now at this point, see, this thing is basically leak free. It won't leak. You can put this in the storage case like this. So you can imagine, like, let's say you had several flavors that you liked. You could color code them even. If you like green apple, you could get a green one. You know, you like tobacco, maybe get a brown one. You like who knows, banana, get a yellow one. So you could have a variety of these little Clearomizers already pre-filled, so throughout the day as you get bored of a flavor, you could just change flavors. I kind of like just smoking one flavor all day. I've tried a lot of different flavors and I end up going back to kind of mixing some flavors and getting my own flavors. Spitz likes to mix cherry and what he calls desert, which is basically Camel cigarette flavor with cherry. And I thought it tasted pretty good. I tend to use a little bit of peppermint once in a while, but I don't like it all the time. But I have found some orange that's okay. It's a little perfumey, but I mix the orange with tobacco flavor, and it kind of works for me. But here's the deal, and you can kind of see now the bottom part of the atomizer assembly. You can see the little milling across there that lets the air come through. And you can see the little holes. Now if you rotate that and you don't see daylight through each one of those holes, that would be a good time to clean that out. It's not hard to clean that out. You could use compressed air or a little tiny thing that's the right diameter and poke it through there, or just blow on it with your mouth and wipe it and whatnot. Keep everything nice and clean, of course, as best you can. And that's that part. And this is the battery contact, okay? And I like how they've got it all nice and isolated, so it's not gonna, there's really no way that you could have a problem with that. You don't want to short out lithium-ion batteries. They get extremely hot and can burst or catch on fire. You see the little notches, the castellations on the top of that? That's what lets the air through. So you've got these little tiny holes here that the air comes through. Then you got these little tiny holes that the air comes through. Then it passes up through this hole. And then you saw the atomizer part kind of pokes up in this tube. So what happens is the wicking is drawing this fluid in. There's a little coil that's heating it, vaporizes it. So all you're ever getting is vapor coming out of there. Now this is another part that can be replaced. This is just a simple manual switch. There's really nothing to it. It's a switch. It probably has some kind of semiconductor logic in there because it'll flash when you plug it in, and it probably flashes when it's low on battery. But you can see you've got not really much of a unit here. It's just a little thing. There's nothing you really gonna be able to do to or modify or change about this. But you can replace this entire head with what's called an EVIC, and you guys should check that out. The EVIC has a little digital display on it that'll give you watts, amps, battery charge, volts, and allow you to adjust those things, I believe. And it also has a computer link, so you can link it up to your computer and track your vaping. And then the heart of the whole matter is just your basic 18650 battery, and this is nothing more than almost like a flashlight tube. It's got a spring at the bottom, and it's a metal body that conducts the power up. And if you see anything in here, you definitely obviously want to clean it. You don't want any kind of anything in there. Now once your that Clearomizer thing is sealed up, you don't ever have to really worry about that leaking or anything. It's sealed, and this is completely clean and dry inside. That little bit of red is just, I guess, from their process of putting that coating on. So this is the total breakdown on this deal. Now this apparently is an upgrade because it says eGO-T upgrade. So I've searched for that. I haven't found one. I have no idea where Spitz got that. I will search around though. If I can find a link, I'll post it. And see how it flashes when you first plug it in? We'll do that again. When you first plug it in, it hasn't been plugged in, then you plug it in and you start screwing it. It flashed. I'm not sure what the deal is here. I can't get it to thread properly. Anyway, well, it only flashed that one time. That's interesting. So, and when you press it, it lights up to let you know it's being pressed. And what I like about this button is it's completely flush, so it's not likely to be pressed while in your pocket. It's completely flush. That's good too. I bet you this whole video is blurry because I'm so close to the camera, but whatever. So once you've got this screwed back on, you got your battery in there, then there's a lot of different things you can put on here. You don't have to use this. There's a bunch of different devices like this. And Spitz likes this bigger tank because I think he likes how it looks with the EVIC. It's like a big fat tank and it holds a lot more juice. I'll tell you what, I am completely satisfied with how this thing performs. This is performing great for me, so I don't see any reason to go looking for more stuff to stick on it just to do it, you know. He did the testing for me, so I don't have to, so that's awesome. And then there's an O-ring there that you want to make sure that's nice and tight, I guess. Or is there an O-ring? No, there's no O-ring. The O-ring is between here and here, okay, to keep the fluid in. And then you're ready to vape. And when you press it, you'll hear a sizzle. Okay, and that's the coil heating up and vaping. And there's a lot of different ways. You could just take a quick puff, or you could take a long draw, or you could preheat it to get a good strong puff, a short puff, long puff, whatever you want, man. As you can see, I'm still looking pretty rough over here. But yeah, let's try it out. I got some fresh juice in there. Let's see how it's hitting. Now notice it shut itself off. It's probably 10 seconds. We could check that out. I'll just hold the button down. No, it was about 5 seconds. So that's got a 5-second shut off. You guys can't hear this, but the gray cat is snoring. That's another thing. I've never heard a cat that snores loudly, like when he's sleeping. He snores. It's just the weirdest thing. I've never had a cat that, like, I mean, he's not mine, he's my son's, but he's like hangs out with me constantly, so I keep on thinking he's mine, but he's really not. But anyway, enough on the cat, man. This is all about vaping and an awesome vaping tool, and it just makes so much sense to me. A lot of electricity, okay, a lot of fluid, very sturdy atomizer that doesn't just stop working for no reason. you know, eventually it will burn out. It's just a little nichrome wire and some wicking. As you can see, the wicking was getting pretty brown. It's generally white, you know, so when it gets really gnarly, it'll probably start tasting different too. I'm not sure if vegetable glycerin makes the wicks and the addies wear out faster or not. I've tried vegetable glycerin, I've tried polyethylene glycol mixes, and I like the PEG mixes better because they produce more vapor. The vegetable glycerins are generally, I don't know, at least the ones I was trying years ago, I just didn't like them. They just didn't seem to produce much vapor, and it required a lot of puffing and effort to get that nicotine. The whole point for me is to get the nicotine in me without gagging. So you look for a flavor you can handle and or enjoy, and you can try all different flavors. They make every kind of imaginable flavor. Anything that you can imagine that there's a flavoring agent for, they have an e-juice for. And there's obviously e-juice crafters out there that take a great deal of pride in their e-juice and try to create the best tasting, best vaping juice out there, and I appreciate that. Not something I'm interested in trying. I just want to be a consumer on this end. I'm not interested in vaping or making vaping devices. It did occur to me in the beginning, but I don't have the capability of making something this amazing. You know, when I very first found out about vaporizers, I looked into the little ceramic pots and the coils and the wicks, and I thought there's got to be a better way. This sucks. And sure enough, there was a better way, and the people that with the machining and the CNC stuff and the manufacturing processes in China or whatever, they figured out how to do it better, and that's awesome. I like it because it's reliable, it's sturdy, and you can use it all day without messing with it. You can just deal with it in the morning or in the evening or whatever and not have to mess with it. That's very important to me. And this one came with a really nice little carrying case. So here, let me set this up and I'll show you how you can put this thing away so that you can, you know, carry it with you wherever you go, okay? Make sure your e-juice bottle is really well sealed, okay? So there it is, well sealed. Okay, you can put your e-juice bottle in there, right? Then make sure you're undoing it from the silver to silver, you know, not red to silver. So now you're taking off your Clearomizer or your tank or whatever that you want to use, okay? Make sure the camera is capturing this. I'm really hoping this isn't all fuzzy because we're so close, but anyway, it has a little loop in here, so you can put that in there, right? And then there's actually some room down here too, so you could put things down in here, but then you can just insert this puppy in its little deal. As you can see, there's room for more stuff, maybe another tank or Clearomizer or whatever you want to call it. Here's a little carrying strap. I imagine that's for wearing the whole deal around your neck and attaching it perhaps to one of the little deals here. I don't know. Not really sure. I haven't even looked at this. Yeah, this is a neck deal, but I'm not really sure what part of the vapor deal this would attach to. I can't really see how that would work. And I'm not probably going to use that right away until I can figure it out anyway. Maybe you just carry the whole pouch around your neck. I don't know. Seems like it'd be a lot of weight. Thing's pretty heavy. So, and then it's got nice dual zippers. And it says Joy E-Tech on it. And that's it. That's the breakdown that I promised you guys. I would show you all the bits and bobs and as much as I could about it. I know this is a super long video. Maybe not that fascinating to everybody, okay? But those of you that are interested in this, I will do my best to provide every link I can for everything on it, okay? Thanks for watching, guys.